Good afternoon, Jan.
Hi, Michael. Okay.
Yes, we have to pretend that this was the first time that we talked to each other this morning.
Yeah. So it was a little bit of rush.
Yeah.
My wife came back a little bit late, so but okay. Still managed to eat something before this.
Oh, good, good. Yeah, I was trying to get everything lined up as well. So
Mm,
we had Labor Day on Monday in the States, and that pushed a whole bunch of things. You wouldn't think that,
okay.
it would be just like, that's a day off. But yeah, all of my usual weekly things just pushed a day later, and it's like, whoa, I'm not used to this.
Yeah, holiday is nice, but the work has to be done. So
Yeah, yeah, very true.
okay. So I think I'm sharing the the usual stuff.
Yes, indeed. So,
Yeah.
yeah, let's kind of start with that. Yeah, I want to make sure that I say multiple participants, and then I'll be able to share as well. But yeah, first, the kind of remind us what we're trying to do. Um, we are trying to recreate this dialogue, and for some reason I'm not able to zoom in. Okay, there it goes. Yeah, so we've got the client section, the work location section, and the task section,
Yeah, but you are not
and then machine.
sharing any.
Uh,
You are
uh,
not sharing anything for the moment, I think.
yeah, yeah. So far, I'm just uh, going back over the dialogue that we're trying to reproduce. So yeah, now let me do my share. So sharing the whole screen. So that means that you see double, but that way we get it all on video. Okay, so there's the dialogue that we're trying to recreate. This
Mm,
is where we ended up. We've got a view model that's got a whole bunch of these things. Not everything yet, but some of these things. And then when we run it, okay, there it comes. Yeah, we can say I want to create a new task. It sets up some sample data and gives us this. And then when we select one, it fills in the client name by a strange little quirk of overriding toString. But it
ah,
works.
but you didn't pull from GitHub.
No, no, I did not. Last night I did a little bit of work on that dialogue. So,
So that I almost didn't change almost nothing, but a little bit.
all right. So, yeah, these are the changes. So yeah,
Mm,
before I went to bed, I did the layout task dialog, but then you've
yeah,
got a couple of things to add the client name
yeah,
and
just
yard name to combo box layout,
yeah,
and add the yard name to location group box, and then
the
add the tools.
tools.
Yeah, excellent.
But the tools I did it with a list box, and I'm not sure whether that's the right thing to do in WPF.
Let's see.
Guess
So this is where we are right now.
yeah.
So,
So now if you click on the combo box on top, so you
yeah.
have the client name and the yard name.
Mm-hmm.
Then below in the location group box, I added that yard name,
Mm-hmm.
um, which is not in the current production version
Yeah.
because we don't have a yard name there, but it's an interesting thing to have.
Yep. Yep. Makes sense.
And then I added the tool section here, just some data in it.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not sure whether you can in a list box in WPF whether you can add a new line. Uh,
Yeah.
to enter new data.
Yeah, the control itself is not set up for that. If we wanted to continue using a list box, then we'd have to have another set of controls, like a text box and an add button, so you can type in the name of a tool and add it. Um, uh, and
Do we need a data grid there?
yeah, that is another way to solve the problem. Um, so I think in order to get
Okay,
this
then,
kind of a data grid, I think you will need a component library. Because yeah, here you can do the editing in place. You can
yeah,
add just
because
by typing down there.
you can just and so you select, for example, test one, you delete, and it's gone.
Mm-hmm.
So it's an easy way to edit that list. And on top of that, if you click, for example, no, there's nothing with an F, for example,
Got it.
he has a lookup list in there
Yeah.
with a D, you see, multiple things inside. So
Mm-hmm.
select the first one, he has it.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure which control we need in WPF to do something similar.
Yeah. So there might not be an exact equivalent in the box. Was this a Windows Forms control that was in the box?
Yeah, I've not used anything, almost
Mm-hmm.
almost nothing. There was not a single control that I didn't have the source code from.
Mm.
Either it was something open source from internet, either it was a built-in.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
I,
Yeah.
I
There
should.
is. Uh, there is a. Oops, don't want to do that. Makes this disappear. Um, there is WPF. What is that? WPF? Yeah, the Exceed Software WPF Toolkit. This adds some additional controls. It might be in here. The issue is the license. It's got a community license that is for non-commercial use.
Okay.
It might be dual licensed though. There might be one that you can pay a small fee for. But yeah, so this has a lot of things. So like one of the controls that we're missing, if we take a look at kind of comparing the the date time picker. So we've got the date picker, which brings up the calendar, or yeah, there it is, little bitty calendar. But then the time picker, hour and minute, you've got kind of the up down buttons,
Yeah.
and that control doesn't exist out of the box in WPF, but it is in here. It's
Why they forgot so many things?
yeah. Yeah, here it is, like long up down, integer up down. That's the one that does that. Yeah, so the grid might be in the Plus edition. Yeah, there's data grid. They have a picture. Yeah, this is a really powerful data grid. Yeah, pictures, groups. But even though they don't show it, I think it does have the. Oh yeah, and you can even have grouping by dragging the headers up to the group area, or rearrange the headers. And I think it also has, they're not showing it, an add line, so you can do what you were doing there.
Okay.
So that's one possibility. But yeah, it's not just baked into WPF. And I think the reasoning behind that was that that WPF gives you all sorts of ways that you can customize your controls. So it's like the opposite of Windows Forms. So Windows Forms, all these things look the same, and you can just set some properties. But WPF, hey, you can completely override the template and the themes and make it look the way you want it to look. So,
Okay.
so yeah, I
Here
think
we are
they started minimal and let you go nuts.
I'm just sharing the source code here from the production version. Do you see it?
Let me expand this a bit. Oh, yeah, I'm seeing. Yeah, I'm seeing visual. Oh, okay, yeah, I got it. Yeah, so this is your source code. Got it. Yes.
Yeah. So this one, so you have here the machines, the tools is a data grid view I was using. And so here for these ones, I was using a datetime picker. Yeah, a datetime picker, where I probably gave it. How did it work? You probably could set, or perhaps I set it in code. And then here, that was a component, multi-column search combo box for the combo box on top. So that was something. Where is that one? Multi-column search combo box here. It's a little bit code that I found on internet long ago.
Okay.
But I remember that screen was a lot of playing and testing until it worked.
Yep. And I think it's going to be that all over again.
Probably. Let's see. Yeah. Well, it's still okay. Yeah, but perhaps region, public access, menus, other things. Wow, it's not that much. 348 lines.
Okay. Yeah.
48 lines. Okay.
Yeah. For this is for the entire dialogue. Yeah.
Yeah, for the entire dialogue.
Okay. Yeah, that's not bad at all.
That's just the code behind the former.
Yeah.
Of course, the multi-column search box is here in a separate project. For example, here you have the card. The Gmap was the mapping software I was using. Then this was for the data entry. Also, all these reports. That was a report generator from.
Oh wow! Yeah.
from Microsoft.
Yeah. Is that Crystal reports?
No, that's the standard report generator, which is built in. Let's see. That's the main form. How did I do it already? Reports here. Look. Can I not select that? Yeah. Why does it not allow me to select? I would think that I can just select that component.
Is this composed view? So it's a
report. The report viewer is Microsoft Reporting WinForms report viewer. But also that was a lot of searching because I don't remember exactly. But so all these reports are meant to work on SQL Server
Mm-hmm.
I meant to work with a SQL Server database behind it, and to make it work in the software standalone was quite a lot of
Mm.
fun. But finally it worked. But okay.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
so then we also had um, here Windows Form UI. That was the dock panel suite.
Mm. Yep.
That was what I used to have the docking in the code.
Right. Right. And so that's the reason that we went with WPF in the first place, is so that we,
Yeah.
because we found a
Mhm.
replacement for that that would
But
that
okay.
would work in WPF.
So okay, and close that again.
Okay. So yep, still a lot of work to do there. What I think I would like uh, to focus
Is
on here
is
is
perhaps to, so when we select a client,
mm-hmm,
now we have to create a new fact. So we selected a client with a yard,
mm-hmm,
but at that moment, what we should do is create a new fact. What was it called already? Let me see if I go to the Solution Explorer. We had a yard model, but we also had a task yard name, task yard address. So the moment that we click save on that dialog box,
mm-hmm.
we have to create a task yard name and a task yard address. Is it that? And a task client name.
Yes. Yes, I think so. So yeah, it's going to be creating the task fact. We'll need to know which yard was selected in order to do that, and then yeah, some of the successors. So client name, yard address,
Mm-hmm.
and then from that list, fill in the tools. So some of them will be from the lookup, some of them will be on the fly,
Yeah.
and then also the worker from the drop down list.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, a lot of facts happen all
I
at
think
once when you hit the save button.
mm, I think that must be interesting to try that.
Yeah, excellent. All right. So in order to get there, you have to take a few steps. So first of all, we know that in order to create the task, we're going to need the yard. So if we go back to the new task view model, we've got an observer that is set up using a specification that gets us a few of the properties: client name, yard address. We'll add more properties as we need them, but it also needs to actually have the yard. So let's go ahead and add that here. So that is already one of the facts that we are selecting in our tuple above. So now that I've got that, when we create the yard view model, we have the yard projection, and so we can get the yard. So let's add that to the view model, and I want to add that as a primary constructor. Okay, why is it green? Oh, because it's unread. Yeah, but it's a primary constructor. Something else might be reading it. That's interesting. But yeah, so we've got that yard now, and so when we do the save, then we will have at this point enough information to well, not quite. Yeah. The next thing that we need is the actual selected yard. So this is filling up the yard's observable collection. But what we need to do is have an observable property for the selected yard. So this is going to be the yard view model. Selected yard, yay. And that way we can bind it to the button, or to the combo box. So here's the combo box. The item source is bound, the text is bound, so let's also bind the selected item. So that should set to the view model that is selected there. And then in order to see all that in action,
we can bind that back to the fields in the yard group box.
yes.
Yard name.
Yeah. So we will need to fill in all this stuff. The first thing I want to do before going there is to go ahead and set up the command for save. That way we can select things, we can hit save, we can set a breakpoint, we can see what has happened inside of the view model. So with the save, oh, okay, it's already got the binding for save command. Did we already add the save command to the view model? I don't think we did. Yeah, no save command. So we do that by creating a property. Now it could be an observable property, although the command itself doesn't change. So I'm going to just go straight to an auto property. So this is command from system Windows input. Yep. Yeah, there's our save command. And then I want to, yeah, so in order to initialize this, I would need a constructor, wouldn't I? Yeah. I don't think I can do it here. Let's see if I can. So delegate command, is that a thing? Oh, that's defined in Prism or in Visual Studio. But we've already used MVVM community toolkit. MVVM, so what does it have? It's going to be input, I believe. And then, yeah, we've got the async relay command, yeah, which is what we want here, because we're going to do a whole bunch of async stuff. All right, so async relay command takes an async function, of course. There we go. So now here, yeah, it's warning us that we are using the field, but it's an observable property, so we really should be using the property. Okay, so yeah, this is the reason why I can't do that in a field initializer. I actually do need a constructor, which means I can't use primary constructors. Okay, well, let's see if we have a, yeah, generate constructor. Well, can I do this with a primary constructor? No. Constructor declared in a type with a primary list must have this constructor initializer. let's see if I like this. I don't know. This is starting to get a little bit wordy, but is that what they mean? So I have to use this. Call it ambiguous. Well, of course. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I think the way that you're supposed to do this is as soon as you need a constructor, you no longer have access to this syntax. So we will just do it this way. So let's declare a field and another field. And I'd like these to be all the way at the top. And now I can initialize the save command inside of the constructor. Okay. All right, so with all that, I should have the command and it should be data bound. Hey, welcome back. Addiction Addict is back. So let's set a breakpoint right right here, and see what we've got. So first of all, is the binding working? Let's hit new task and save, and the binding is working, and selected yard is null. Yes. All right, so then if we come in here and we select one and then hit save, now we've got the selected yard and it has the yard, all those properties, but then also we added a yard property, didn't we? Yeah, I added it through a primary constructor, so it should be there. Yeah. Let's just double check that. So we've got our selected yard. It is a yard view model. We've got this partial. So, yeah, maybe I don't quite understand primary constructors the way I thought they worked. So let's go back to this. So I want to have a, oh goodness, that's generating a whole bunch of stuff. Yeah, I don't want all of that stuff. I just want this. And yeah, so let's go ahead and define the yard property. That should be a read-only property. Yeah. So now I can get the yard, which means back here, I should be able to see it on my selected yard. Yeah, it's really funny. The first year that I was an MVP, I might have told this story already. I went to the language design session, and Mads Torgerson was up there talking about the language and big old whiteboard, and he's got some markers, and I said, "Okay, anybody got any language ideas?" And I raised my hand and ran up to the front, and I basically drew out primary constructors, and as it turns out, every year up to that point, somebody had drawn out primary constructors, and this was years before they added it to the language, and it's like, oh, that's good feedback. Yeah. Yeah, everybody comes up with this.
Yeah, it's there.
There we go. So there we have that information, which means now we can actually save the selected yard to the task. Well, no, what we can really do is create the task. So I will say, oh, interesting. I think it got that just about right. Oh, it's telling me that it can't compile selected yard. Why is it? Okay, cannot convert from. Oh, that's supposed to be DWS task. There we go. And then it needs the yard, and it needs the task. Good. So, there we go. Now, of course, I don't want all of this to be hanging out in the constructor. So let's turn that into. I thought there was a refactoring that just turned it into a method. So might have to do it this way. Let's extract this method. We'll call it handle save. So there's our save command. I want that to be after all the load and unload stuff. We'll come back to that. And then this, yeah, I don't actually need to pass in the Jinaga client. It's saved as a field. So if I get rid of that, it still can access Jinaga client. Now it's using the field instead of the parameter, which means I don't need this, which means this should be able to just turn into that. Yeah. Okay. All right. So we've got it to the point that when you save, it's going to create the task, and then we want to close the dialog. So tell me how to close the dialog again. Is it this dot? Yeah, I can't remember how to close a dialog in WPF. We'll figure it out. Don't need to do that quite yet. So, oh, you're gonna research that? Can't believe I used to teach WPF and now I can't remember these simple things. But yeah, if you do want to hire me for a WPF class, I will relearn this before I get in front of the class. Don't worry. Okay. So yeah, the next thing is that when we select a yard, we want to fill in all of the stuff. Well, first of all, let me go ahead and commit that. See,
you can hide it, you can close it, you can.
Yeah, I think this is, oh, it's because I'm in the view model. I'm not actually in the dialog. So, yeah, in order to do that in the dialog, I think you would need some code behind, or maybe there's a property on the button. I might be, yeah, I don't want that generated code. Okay, we already looked at that. Where did the XAML go? So new task dialog. Yeah. In one of these things, I can't remember if it's C# or XAML or what. There's in one of these systems, there's a way you can say, okay, that button closes the dialog, and it just does it. Mm. It might be an HTML-based thing.
No, here you just have to set the dialog result to true or to false.
Oh, okay.
then that closes the window, apparently.
Okay. All right, and so that means we have to do that in code behind.
Yeah.
So I will do my double click thing. Yeah, there we go. So it's called
Dialog
populate.
result is true.
Okay. So that, yeah, let's just double check that it's going to call the view model command, and it's going to close the dialog in that order. So,
and you can also call the close method. It's also a possibility.
Okay.
But if you do that, then dialog result is automatically set to false.
Ah. Okay, yeah, I do remember that. And I think... Oh, I think I'm accidentally closing my stuff. Yeah, I lost my breakpoint when I did the refactor. So I don't know if that actually got called. So, new task. We hit save. Okay, so it does call the command, and then it closes the dialog. Okay. All right. Hard-won knowledge.
I'm not the only one who forgets.
All right. So then the other thing that we want to make sure that we do is that when we select something, when we select a yard, we fill in all the other properties. So that means that here in this combo box, I want to, well, okay, so I was just about to use an event, but it's already setting a property on the view model. It might actually be that view model that I want to hook into, because that's what's doing all the work anyway. So let's go back here, and how do we hook into an observable property on a view model? There is a way in the community toolkit to do that. I believe that let's go back to that generated code. We can kind of unpack this. We could look it up, but this is more fun. This is all the code that gets generated by Community Toolkit MVVM. So, so it's got all of the properties set up, and then when a property is changed, it calls these methods, and then on property changing and on property changed. You know, that's really the only one that we were using so far. You know, to update the view when the property changes. But you've got all of these. So on selected property, or on selected yard changed, passes in the new value. Or actually, I'm sorry, yeah, that is the new value. Yeah, but it does that after it sets the property. So I could use the actual property, or I could use the parameter. Either one, they are going to be the same. And this unselected yard changed is something that is defined down here as a partial method. So I can implement that method in my partial class. So we can come back to yard view, new task view model. And I'll do that right here because it kind of happens after things are loaded, but before you save. So it makes sense that it would be here. I don't know. We can decide to move it around. So if I say partial, now I've got all of the different partial classes that I can implement. So here is the onSelected yard changed.
Michael, can I not just bind to selected yard?
Yeah.
The field's in a location there on the screen.
The field is in. Yeah.
In
So.
the art group box.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So let me flip back to the screen. Yeah. So in the view. Yeah. Yeah. So so this view data binds to text fields like yard name, street. These don't yet exist on the view model yet, but we are about to add them. So this will be the user's way of changing the yard name, and it'll also be that when we set yard name, it will display that in the box. So this is all view, but here we're working in the view model. So yeah, let's do yard name first. So if we have an observable property called yard name, hey, sometimes I wonder if it's listening and it can use voice cues. That would be kind of cool. But yeah, we've got the yard name, and so on selected yard changed, don't throw an exception. I want you to set yard name equal to the yard name that we're getting from this yard view model. So the one that they select from the list, use that. Otherwise, clear it out. And so I think this is going to give us the behavior that we're looking for. All right, create a new task. And then when we select, boom, it fills in the yard name. But I can still override it. So it's just a text field that the user has control over, but if they select another one, then it replaces it with that one. So is that the correct behavior for your application?
That's what we need, yeah.
Okay. Very good. Interesting. I didn't notice when that cleared out. Wow. What is causing that? That is very strange. I don't know what's causing it to clear out like that.
You deactivate.
Let's see. If we come in here, this would have to be called when that happens. So I select one, it gets called, that's good. And then come back. Oh, and then it immediately got called again, this time with a null. Because it was deactivated by the debugger in this case. But what is the reason for that? Oh, on deactivated. Okay. On deactivated is happening way too quickly. That's not what I thought that activated and deactivated meant. Another thing I've forgotten about WPF. Yeah.
It should be something like on close or something.
Yeah. So let's see what we've got. We've got on. Yeah, we do have on closed. On closing. What's the opposite of that? Would it be open? Or maybe uninitialized? A whole bunch of events. Yeah, let's go with uninitialized. That's where I'll want to do the view model load. And then on closed, that's where I'll want to do the unload. Now I don't need these anymore. Okay. All right, so we select one, it hits our breakpoint, we continue, it deactivates, but it doesn't hit our breakpoint because it doesn't clear anything out. And I can click on something else, and it doesn't deactivate. Okay.
That's great.
Learn something about WPF again. All right, and now it hits this breakpoint just because we happen to be unloading the view model. So everything's unwinding. Okay, that's good knowledge. So here we are setting the yard name. Okay, so the remaining behavior on this view model would be basically duplicate that same kind of thing with all of these controls. So you can grab the address properties, stick them in there, and then it fills all those in. Now to save when that happens, we've got this. So here we have created the fact, or this is the yard fact. Wait, no, this isn't the yard fact, this is the task fact. Yep. And now I want to set the properties. So, for example, I want to create the yard name. Now it's predicting here DWS task name, which is wrong. It should be task yard name. And then it says for this task, this is the value, and then it needs the prior. Because we know that this is the first time that we're setting that property, we've just created this this thing, then we can use the empty priors. So, hello, got a new user joining the chat. Welcome. All right. So let's talk through this real quick. If we just select and then hit save, then the yard name that we set is going to be the default name of that yard. So here's yard B1. We hit save, then yard name is interesting. Didn't get hit. I'm going to select, I'm going to hit B1, I'm going to save, it gets here. So we do have a selected yard, right? No, why not? Why do we not have a selected yard? What happened to my selected yard? Okay. It's not often that something gets undone like that. So we've got the selected item bound there. Selected yard. That's selected yard. Oh, I wonder if we are unloading before. Yeah, I think we are unloading before we get there. Okay. This is cool. Okay. So what happened here? This is an async command handler. We have already awaited right here. So that means that we've gotten up to this point, and then this method returned the task. In the new task dialog, let's go back to the code behind, we have save click, which even if it calls the command before it calls the event, the command will already have returned its async, its task. And so now it's setting the dialog result to true, which causes it to be closed, which causes the view model to unload, which, as we saw before, causes the view to set the selected yard to null. So all of that is happening before it is able to continue this await. And so now by the time we get here, this yard name has already been cleared out. Wait, no. Yeah, even worse than that. Yeah, we haven't yet awaited, but yet the selected yard is still null. Okay. Well, all that to say that the command is not the right pattern for this. Since we already have to do code behind, then what I can do is turn this into a public async task. I'm just going to call it save, and I'm going to get rid of the save command. So here is the, where did the save command go? Oh, there it is. Yeah, let's get rid of that. So here we are not going to bind the I command of save. Instead, we just call save click, which before it sets the dialog result to true, will it will call the view model save. Now, view model save is async, so we can't just call it like that. We have to await it. But save click is synchronous, so we have to make that async. And now we have the dreaded async void. So eventually, we're going to have to come around to fixing this, because this is going to happen over and over again. We'll have an event that we want to perform some kind of an async operation. So we perform that, and then we refresh the screen. So while it's saving, the dialog is not closing, but then we set the dialog result and the dialog closes. So there is a pattern that we will need to bring in. Not enough time today to bring it in to resolve that problem. But with all that, let's make sure that it's able to build that and that we get the expected behavior now. Create a new task. We're going to select B2. When we hit save, we come in here. Selected yard is not going to be null, so we will continue on, create our task, create our yard using the yard name yard B1, and then it's going to close the dialog. And we have created two facts on save. If we do that again, and this time select B1 but override it, then when we hit save and it comes through here, the yard name is yard B1 override. So we're saving that fact that indicates what the user actually wanted to call the yard. And it does that without changing the original yard name. So, so that's the whole reason we created the model, to have these task yard name properties. So that is good stuff. Okay, so in order to get where we want to be, there's several other properties that we need to do similar things, and then we can.
Because we also have to save the client.
Yeah, that's true. Yes. So, yeah, do we have a task client name? Yeah, we have task client name, so we'll need to do that one too. In fact, that one is pretty simple. Wait, Jinaga client, fact, new task client name, and it predicts the rest. So, yeah, doing that, needs an extra parentheses. So yeah, doing that is going to be able to save that. And I'm so confident that is working, I'm just going to push it.
Where is relation then between that client and that yard?
Yeah. Yeah, so coming back here, these are the overrides, but when I create the task, I pass in the yard. So the yard is a predecessor, but then the client is a predecessor of the yard. So indirectly, you can get back to the original client. And so that means you can go up and then back down to see what is that client's current name now. But by capturing it this way, one, we give you a chance to override it, but then two, we're capturing what it was at the time that you created the task. So I think that gives us a good start. So all that is pushed, and we are just about out of time. So if you would like to pick it up from there and see how much you can do there, yep. Then next time we can look at assigning it to a worker. We can look at adding machines. See how all those work.
Okay, it starts working.
Yes, indeed. Yeah, it's fun to see things that start to come together like that.
But so here, if you would, because here the client name, if we change it, it doesn't go into the lookup.
Correct.
That was with,
Yep.
Okay. Because that was with the tools, I think, that we...
Correct, yes. Yeah, so that's why we ended up with two different kinds of tools. So you could have an on-the-fly or one that's in the lookup. And if it's in the lookup, then you just use the actual tool name in the lookup. Yeah, and since you can edit the tool names in the grid, I think what that implies is that when you edit the name of one that you've previously selected, you actually do want to change the original tool name.
Wait. No, the original one. No, the original one I always kept.
Okay. Okay, so if you edit that, then it becomes on the fly instead of.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So we can implement it that way.
Yeah, because the original one, um, it comes from a CRM system. So
Okay.
you're
Right.
not
Yeah.
allowed to,
Yeah.
yeah. And it could be useful, for example, if you have 20 of the same machines, to say name of the machine number 1, number 2, number 3.
Mm-hmm.
So you want to add one, which is not yet in the CRM system. Then you select one of them and you change just the number.
Hmm. Oh, okay. Yeah.
So
So we might have some user interface that that lets you say these are all the ones that that you entered on the fly. Which ones do you actually want to sync to CRM? Then change the number, and then it pushes. Yeah. Yeah. It's going to be good stuff.
it's always dangerous to allow people to push things back to the CRM.
Mm-hmm.
For them, it's if you say the master is your CRM package,
Mm-hmm.
and if you want to change something, you change it there, then it's clear for everybody.
Yeah.
And if they can change it in different places, in the end, they don't follow anymore what is happening.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, I can understand that.
Yeah,
So,
because then you change something or you delete something, and in the end, all the data is gone.
mm-hmm. Yeah. So even though we could model it such that it syncs in both directions, we will keep the sync one way to make it easier to understand.
Well, perhaps we could somewhere just to have the example.
Hmm. Oh, okay. I see
Because,
what you mean.
yeah, I like to have all the examples in one package,
Yeah.
just to demonstrate the possibilities of Jinaga.
Yeah. And then when you take your production code, you'll say, okay, I'm not actually going to ship that, so I'll take that out. But
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, it's a good idea. I like that.
No, I don't. If customers say we lost our data, I like to say my software don't allow you to delete data.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Which yeah, I'm having an interesting conversation with the head of the Q Optics project. We are about to spin that back up, um, and so he actually is looking for ways to delete data from certain devices in certain scenarios. So we're thinking through safe and mathematically valid ways to do that. So there may be a new result coming up. I think I've figured out a way that we can modify the system so that it doesn't actually change the math. It doesn't change what the system already promises, but it allows you to express a new constraint that then makes it safe to delete data. So stay tuned for that.
okay. Because deleting data sometimes it's necessary.
Yeah.
You say okay, that portion is not for the for the tax department. Just delete it.
Yeah.
But
yeah. So that will be a discussion coming up in the near future.
Okay. So next Thursday.
Indeed, next Thursday.
Somewhere from the 29th to the 15th of 29th of September to the 15th of October, I will not be there.
Okay. All right.
But
that might be a good time to record some of the thoughts about this discussion about deleting data. The other ideas that he's proposing, and I'm okay. Yeah, I can see that being valuable. So yeah, that might be the right time to do that.
okay. All right. Then next Thursday.
Indeed. I'll see you then.
Michael, see you. Bye
Goodbye.
bye.